Fertility Village. This is your weekly live talk show where community and support come together. With rotating hosts, expert guests, and meaningful conversations, we're here to guide you through the highs and the lows of infertility. Whether you're searching for answers, seeking advice, or just looking for a special place to belong, Fertility Village is your space to connect, learn, and grow. Because it really does take a village, and we are here for you every step of the way. Thanks for joining. Good evening. Hello, Fertility Village community. Thanks for joining us tonight on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube at Oasis FSN. And I am so excited to be joined tonight by Christine and Lily from the Daisy Baby Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
You guys reached out to us about coming on the pod, and I was like, 1000%. This looks like an amazing thing you guys have started. You look like, just amazing entrepreneurs and women who know what you want and what you're doing. And so I'm super excited to learn more about you. For those who are listening, we've never met before. We've never actually even talked before. So this is going to be fun. Mm-hmm. And then for those who tune into my episodes, sometimes I go a little rogue off script. So anything could happen tonight. But ultimately, we just really want to hear about you guys and get to know you gals and get to know you and the organization that is the Daisy Baby Foundation. I want to hear a bit about your stories. I want to hear about Honey Events and Design, which is the company that you have. And then the Daisy Baby Foundation is like a little wing, a little nonprofit wing of that. I'm so pumped about what you guys are doing. So where do we want to start? Why don't you tell us a little bit about you both and a little bit about what inspired you to start the foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm Christine and
I'm Lily.
Yeah. And so most of my career I've spent in marketing, public relations, brand strategy. I've actually been a freelancer for like about 12 years now. I've worked on mostly on a platform called Upwork, and as of today, I've worked with over 600 clients, and I'm rated amongst the top 1% of the platform. So worked with many different companies worldwide in very many different industries. But, as a brand strategist, I would say that my job has always been about understanding people, what they're feeling, what they need, and how to create experiences that make, them and their clients feel seen. So that's a little bit about, my background before creating Honey and before creating the Daisy Baby Foundation. And
yeah, so together we started Honey kind of as our event planning company. We're a wife and wife duo. And we like to create really personal celebrations. And the Daisy Baby Foundation is a leg of it because we define ourselves as a heart-led business, and it's just like our way of giving back to the community as well.
Yeah. So Lily is also a mechanical designer by trade. We created Honey Events because when we were getting married, we didn't find a lot of planners that were representing themselves the way that we would like to run a planning business. I would say a lot of the planners that are very design led or hyper personal, deeply personal, are very expensive. And we wanted to offer sort of a middle of the range offering for clients that might not be able to afford, a $10,000 planning service that offers design. So that's where we kind of came in, and we specialize in creating personal celebrations that feel like you. Daisy Baby Foundation is part of that. So now with all of Honey celebrations, any client that books Honey, they get part of our package goes to the Daisy Baby Foundation. So we give a percentage of the package back from each package. And yeah, so that's a little bit about Honey and Daisy Baby. But I guess what inspired us to create the foundation, when we decided we were ready to create our own family, we thought we were just taking the next exciting step in our life. But instead, we entered a completely new world that was a lot more complicated than either of us expected. And especially for queer families, very quickly we realized that queer families face additional financial barriers before they even have the opportunity to try to become parents. And that there are so many resources needed that aren't necessarily available, or some of them are available, but there's a shortage of them. So that's kind of what inspired the Daisy Baby Foundation. We were inspired a little bit by our journey, but seeing that there was such a need for more resources for queer families.
Yeah, 100% agree. There's not enough resources out there, especially in that way and in the community. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about your own family building journey. So, if you will, if you don't mind, we love to tell stories on this podcast. I don't know if you've listened to like our storytelling episodes, but like we want the community to connect with you. We want them to hear your story, be inspired that I can do hard things too. And they did it and they got through it. And so I can, get through it as well. So yeah, this one's for the same-sex couples, like really excited to get this story out there. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah. So our journey really began, I guess, like the day that we walked into the fertility clinic. Like many other people, we thought that we'd have a consultation and start talking and we'd be on our way. Obviously, it's not always so cut, like such a clean road to where you want to go.
Yeah.
The clinic ordered blood work, and then the blood works showed that I have hypothyroidism. So that was quite surprising because most of my life, like I've been very like healthy. I had no like signs of hypothyroidism. So I had no idea that was even a thing that I had to worry about. And then obviously that led to more testing, and they tested my thyroid antibodies, which is how I learned that I also have Hashimoto's. I had not really known anyone with Hashimoto's, one person actually, like in our whole lives that had Hashimoto's before. So it was very new. And then I guess like that was the beginning of what we call going down a rabbit hole, like for sure. Suddenly we weren't just learning about IVF, but we were learning about thyroid disease, antibodies, autoimmune conditions, which really affect the fertility journey. Inflammation, embryo quality, implantation, all the things. So we kind of had to take a step back from our journey, for a bit to get my health regulated. And we met with several nurse practitioners. I started seeing an acupuncturist. I also saw 2 different naturopaths that specialized in 2 different things. And through that, I also discovered I had insulin resistance. So it's like all these different things that for somebody that I felt was a very healthy person before. So every answer that we got throughout the process seemed to create 3 more questions. I was always wondering, like, am I doing enough? Like, should I ask for another test? Doctors are very hesitant to be just prescribing tests just if you want them. Like, they need to see a need for them. But I felt like, I should be testing more regularly to make sure my eggs were as good quality as they could be for the process. Should I be taking more supplements? Is there something that we're missing? Those were kind of all things that went through my head, and Lily had to hear a lot about, because I am very type A, and like the fertility journey is expensive. If we're going to do it, we want to do it right. We didn't think we could do it more than once. A lot of people can't afford it more than once. And so that was the case for us. So throughout this whole process, we realized that there was a huge gap in a lot of not only in medical care, but also in information and in communication. And also the fertility clinics, they're so overloaded. So it's very hard to get the help that you need. So it was a little bit overwhelming right from the beginning. But in the fall, we did end up doing IVF. And fortunately, we did get some of our medication covered by compassionate care because we did need additional support at the time. Because of all those additional costs, with all the additional practitioners, it added up. So we were able to get compassionate care support. We did the process. We ended up getting 11 embryos. So
amazing number.
Very exciting. But we didn't do the testing because we just didn't have the means for it at the time. And we were just, between freezing your embryos, paying for sperm,
freezer fees.
Yeah, like everything, like it adds up. So I would say that we just froze our embryos, and right now they're in the freezer and they're waiting for the right time for us.
Yeah, amazing. Well, that's exciting. So we're still in it. We're still on the journey. You guys are just like right in the messy middle. Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of the exciting middle because you're about to transfer, and that's like the first chance of like, okay, this could be life. This could be our child. So it's so exciting. And I hope it's just up from here and not like the roller coaster that some people have, but you prepare yourself for the worst and hope for the best. And hope is the word there, like you hope and keep hoping and keep hoping every single time, but that's,
I would say that like, even with like everything, we knew it was going to take a long time, planning ahead, getting on a wait list, all of these things. And it is quite nerve-wracking not knowing like when is your inflammation going to go down. And time is of the essence for all of these things, your egg quality and whatnot. Like it's all about like getting it in the freezer, so it's
such a balance between like your age and also like, okay, like you're like getting everything else in order. So
it's hard not to feel the stress when you're in it. It is such a heavy thing for anyone to go through. And like you guys need a lot of support when you go through it, that's for sure.
I love that. And I can feel it like between you guys, like the excitement that you have for like the next phase and moving into that, transfer stage. So we will be thinking about you guys, but you already face like a barrier when you go to start your family, as a queer couple, like you said. And I think that like, I want to talk about that because like for, other couples, it's like, you kind of hit this wall all of a sudden after a year of trying that like, oh, we can't have a baby naturally. We all hate that word, but like we're having a hard time replacing it with something else. But so you already know you're going to need access to fertility treatment in order to start your family. And so to get there and then find out, oh my God, now we have these hurdles, these additional things. So for those uneducated folks out there who might be listening or who might not know, where do you feel the gaps are that need to be filled, and what is the reality of family building for the LGBTQ community?
Well, I would say it's really about how inaccessible it is for a lot of people. Like it could not even be a consideration for some couples because it's just, a house or a kid or, some other kind of like big life decision that could, change your entire trajectory. Like we were looking at the average income of a family in Ontario, it's 100,000.
A couple in Ontario, 2 people that are working. And before tax.
So like medication alone can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. That's a significant amount of your income, or
it is
even before tax.
So
it is quite inaccessible, and every queer person's journey is different as well. So like our journey is completely unique to us, as well as it would be for 2 gay men or some other kind of queer couple. We have the whole rainbow under the LGBTQIA, and there's so many different scenarios and so many unique cases that like we do require special attention or considerations, and there's just not enough resources.
And I feel like there's so many additional considerations for 2SLGBTQIA folks, like, you know, before you even, you have to be very planful. Like, it's not just something that happens by accident, typically for queer couples. I mean, before you even have the opportunity to attempt pregnancy, like you're purchasing donor sperm. Well, we were purchasing donor sperm, learning about shipping and storage, reviewing genetic information, you know, like there's so many different factors. So, you know, one of the biggest things that we've learned is there are so many different ways that families are built for queer couples, and like no two families are alike.
Yeah. Well, I can relate to that so much too. I don't know if you've heard my story, but I also had a sperm donor. I have a male partner, but we had a sperm issue. So we had a sperm donor. So I understand that process and what it's like to go through. And then because of that, my son actually has like, I don't know, we're in the 20s now of like genetic siblings. And so we've connected with other families that have used the same donor. Yeah. And so, and most of the folks who have the siblings are same-sex couple moms, obviously, and then some single moms as well, or solo moms, I prefer. But yeah, it's very cool. And I've loved connecting with all the moms because there's just like all this love around all these kids and all this, like this neat little thing that binds them together. So yeah, it's a very cool journey. It's very, I don't know, I think it makes them special. And I think it gives them something, you know, in life. Cool. They're just connected with all these other little humans.
Oh, I love that.
And, yeah. It's pretty neat.
Cool. We're part of the Zytec, like I guess like Facebook group. And if folks on here don't know, like there is like a Facebook group where you can join. You can see if other people have the same donor. And we haven't found anyone with our donor yet.
Okay.
It's crazy because there's a lot of people on there, but there's also a lot of people who probably don't know about it. So I'm sure there's someone out there that has used our donor. Like we have seen that there's been a live birth. So whoever's out there, donor 3219.
I love that. Well, shout out to Zytec. I'm a huge fan. That's who I use to like start my family as well. And they are massive supporters of Oasis. They're always sending us things for our tea party and our silent auction, and they're always donating towards our cause. So we are huge fans of Zytec. So I'm giving them a shout out today. Hopefully Marianne is watching. But yeah, I think that's really cool about the Facebook group. I didn't actually know about it, but my son's 5. So we used their Zytec Connects back in the day. And then we found like once you had a live birth, then I think you can really connect in with others. So that's cool. I'm going to join the Facebook group. Great.
Okay, cool. We didn't know. I mean, I didn't know about the Connect yet. So like, that's going to be good to know moving forward. And I mean, hopefully we'll be connected with folks then. But yeah, I mean, this choosing sperm is such like a crazy journey on its own and like very difficult. Like we made spreadsheets and we were like comparing and contrasting and looking at all these like personality traits and like, do we want to like go with like an athlete? Do we want to go with like somebody who has a doctorate degree? Like, and ultimately for us, it came down to like vibes. We like heard his voice, and like we had a good feeling and like seemed like a normal person, and so we were like, let's just not overthink it anymore. Let's go for it. And I mean, he has 5 kids of his own, so clearly he had some good swimmers, and that's where we I guess like that's how that helped us get the embryos that we did.
I love that. That is so good. That is so great. Was there any part of your journey so far, because I know you're still in it, you're in the thick of it, where you really felt unseen or unsupported by the fertility system? I'd love to hear where you really feel like there's big gaps. I know where I think they are, but I want to hear from you.
So I guess like it was very like stressful for me right off the bat when I found out that I had thyroid disease. You know, it seemed like my clinic was very like thought it was okay to randomly test your TSH, and maybe didn't even think it was so concerning to have antibodies. Since then, I've joined a lot of different Facebook groups like on Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. Antibodies are due to inflammation in the body, and high inflammation levels can lead to miscarriage. So, right away, I'm trying to reduce my antibodies, trying to test all of the thyroid panel, but my clinic wasn't thinking that was super important. So, that felt hard right away, like not being supported by the clinic, having to seek other supports. And they didn't even really support an autoimmune protocol right away. So it seemed like they wanted to lump me in with everyone else, like even though I had a different diagnosis. It's just maybe somebody who doesn't have a thyroid disorder, and they wanted me to follow the same IVF process as everyone else without considering what would make me more successful. So I felt a little bit brushed off in this process, and also communication was a little bit difficult. I feel like when you're making decisions that affect your future family, every question feels important or urgent. And it just felt like a lot of times we'd wait for responses or feel unsure about who we should contact. And it just felt like there wasn't as much concern on their side as we felt like there should be. And I'm not saying they have an easy job. It's very difficult. I'm sure to be seeing like very stressed out families every day. But it just felt like there could be a little bit more personalization of care, I think.
Yeah. I mean, folks, if you're listening and you've heard me on this before, I love to get on a little rant about private healthcare. And specifically in relation to maybe plastic surgery, which is also an elective.
Right. Oh, I don't think I can hear you. I think you're on mute.
There we go. My computer just disconnected my mic for a second. I'm back. Okay, before I get on this big soapbox, there is a gap in that private healthcare. Like, I mean, if you are getting a procedure done, call it whatever you want, call it a facelift, call it a boob job, you're going to be treated like a queen. And these things cost a fraction of what it costs for us to have a baby or to go through that process. And it's like the patient experience is majorly lacking. In a lot of clinics, there are some exceptions, I will say, and they know who they are. And I think the community is starting to get to know who they are too. And I think one thing we talk a lot about on our podcast is like, do your research. And you've already talked about it, Christine. Like, you've advocated already for yourself in such an amazing way, in that you're saying, don't treat me like the other cattle in this cattle call. I want to be known for like this journey that I'm on, and make sure that you're getting treated the way that you should be based on the amount of money that you're paying. And you're not just going to do this their way so that you have to then do another cycle. And then, like, that's not in the cards for us. So good on you for advocating for yourself and setting such a great example of, how to do that, and showing other people, like, this is how you can talk to the doctor, and you can ask questions, and you should ask questions, and don't let them dismiss you and your ideas, and push for the things that you have learned about and advocate. I think it's so key on the fertility journey. Like, it's crazy.
I think that you had this guest on the podcast as well, but so we were at a fertility brunch. You were probably there as well.
I think you were.
The one. Oh my gosh,
Fertility Matters one.
Yes.
Was it this year or last year?
This year.
Okay, I couldn't make it to this year, but they did put on a mad brunch.
And I think it's Catherine Blazebaum.
Yeah, Catherine Blazebaum. Love her.
Yeah.
She was on a few months ago.
Yeah, and so we met her and we saw her at the conference, and she like told a story about like her frustrations as well. And I definitely related to the hundreds of emails that we've sent back and forth with the clinic.
Oh, yeah.
I could relate to that so much. And I think she was saying like that she felt like, so much pushback and like frustration and, from the clinic, but you're just trying to do your best here. And like, I just felt like I related to that so much, because you really have to advocate for yourself in the process. And also, like, you can do a lot of research beforehand, but there's only so much that you like really know until you're in the thick of it. Like
Yeah.
a
Oh, it's so
lot of the
true.
clinics have very similar ratings, and once you join a wait list for IVF, you just kind of want to go with the first choice as well.
After you wait a year.
Yeah. So now it looks like, there's been a lot more funding, thankfully, for couples. So there's a lot more options. But at the time, we had to wait a long time, and we just went with the clinic. And like obviously we're not going to call it our clinic, but not so happy with them. But like at this now, like we have our embryos with them, and you have to transfer the embryos with that clinic. Otherwise you lose your funding. So kind of stuck with it. So the only choice really is to really advocate for yourself. Otherwise, in a clinic where they're overloaded, you're not going to be seen the way that you feel like you should be.
Yeah. Well, and you don't know what you don't know. And you're going into this completely blind, and nobody has, taught infertility or fertility care in school or in sex ed or anything like that. And there's nowhere to really, I mean, we're working really hard at Oasis on some education on getting that out there so that folks can learn and understand. And before they even like get on a wait list, they know like what wait list they want to get on. They can interview doctors, they can do their research, they can tour clinics. Like this is possible. And I didn't know that. I went in completely blind. I just kind of got like,
I didn't know that
either. 100%, just like, yeah, it's private healthcare. We are paying for the service, even though there's funding in Ontario. There are lots of provinces across Canada with no funding, or with very little funding, or with just a tax credit. There's provinces in Canada with no clinic even. It's pretty wild. The accessibility. We are lucky in Ontario to have. Yeah, but at the same time, like there's still a lot of problems that we're solving. And sometimes we talk about this on this podcast, not to be like, oh, poo-poo on the fertility, like doing amazing things, getting us to our babies. Like this is all really important, but it's awareness, right? For the folks who maybe aren't here yet and aren't ready to start their journey, but they're listening to this, or it's for the ones who, like they're all doing amazing things out there, the clinics, and they are, getting us to baby. That's what they should be doing. That's the job.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like bringing awareness to this, the more we can have these conversations, the better it is, for care, and the better it is for support, and the better it is for, just growing, ultimately this, this space here.
Something I will add though, like if you're not happy with your clinic, you can change your doctor. Like that is one good thing. And we have changed our doctor with our clinic, like to a doctor that we felt saw and understood thyroid issues a little bit more. So, so you can advocate for yourself in different ways. Just because, like, if you leave your clinic, you'll be at the bottom of a different wait list. Like that's not the only option. You can like change your doctor. So, so there are options as well.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I really like that. Okay, let's pivot a little bit and talk. I want to hear a bit more about Daisy Baby Foundation. You kind of gave us the high level, what it is, and but let's hear the origin story. Obviously it was born out of your own experience becoming a reality. But how did it go from, we just do amazing events to we really want to support people, and what, talk about like your first donors and the mission behind it, and what are you hoping to support, and what are you doing with the grant?
Yeah, so we're really new, so we went through the process, as we mentioned, in the fall, and we learned so many different things throughout that process. And then we decided in the winter to create the Daisy Baby Foundation. So as we've also mentioned, we do events. It's our side hustle. And I would say it's also like our hard-led business. We both have other day jobs, but we're really passionate about doing events and also building community through events and giving back to community. So last year we ran our first Pride event up here we live in the Kitchener-Waterloo region, and we ran it in Cambridge, supporting Grand River Pride, which is a great organization up here. But it was a huge hit. We coined it as a different type of Pride event for people who don't really like parades or don't love drinking, who want a more like curated cocktail hour event where you can meet other like-minded people. And because of the angle, I guess, that we took with this event, we attracted a lot of like crowding, just people like neurodivergent people, just people who wanted like a more calming atmosphere, and media was very interested. So we ended up attracting 5 major media outlets. We were on global news talking about the event. So that was really cool. Extra covered us, CTV Kitchener, and we had that event again this year. But we started to think about, I guess, like how we could leverage it for our own cause. Because Grand River Pride already has so much support. So we're like, how can we help queer families through it? And then kind of through that, like we were like, well, let's finally launch the Daisy Baby Foundation that we've kind of been sitting on and thinking about for a few months. And let's use this event, Glam As You Are, as our first fundraiser for the Daisy Baby Foundation. So we ended up having that event in June, and we ended up raising $2,500.
Amazing.
Yeah, so through ticket sales and also through raffle sales. So so we actually haven't given out our first grant yet. We are hoping to give our first grant out this week.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, we're deliberating with our other board member who are going to help us decide on who it's going to be given
the first
to.
recipient. Yeah.
So yeah, we're in the process of that, and that itself has been very nerve-wracking, and also like it's really pulled at our heartstrings. Like we didn't really think about how hard it would be to decide on a recipient or recipients, like a couple, because everyone has a deserving story, and
100%.
there are so many couples and individuals and solo parents that need help. So we're in that process now, but we're so excited to be giving our first grant very soon, and we hope to have another event to raise money for the Daisy Baby Foundation in the fall. We're also working on a deck to like look for corporate donors as well. So we incorporate ourselves as a federally incorporated nonprofit, and we're just really trying to raise awareness now and, keep it going after this first grant is given.
Amazing. That's so exciting. And I can't imagine like that choosing process would be so difficult. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Because everybody has such a unique story as well, and their own like hurdles. It's like, how do you quantify it? How do you compare something so different, and totally. They're all very deserving at the end of the day.
Sometimes we're just like, oh my gosh, we've gone back and forth with the board, and we've had conversations like, how are we going to do this? At times we're like, we need to put like, the shortlisted names in a hat, because it feels like, how are we going to tell a couple or a parent that you didn't get the grant? Like for us, that we didn't really think about how heartbreaking that would be. It's like we're doing something so good that we think could make such of a difference, but also there's another side to it too.
Yeah. And how do you folks apply for your grant? And like, what's the parameters around it?
Yeah, so we just have a Google form set up right now, but so we ask a lot of different questions and mostly look at like the human side behind the application, because a lot of other grant programs are like led by medical professionals on the board, but we're not medical professionals. We're just like two people that decided to want to get back to our community. So like we do ask some questions around finances and health, but we don't feel like we get as in-depth as some other forms. And
we try not to make it invasive or overly clinical. Obviously we want to have a good understanding of your situation, how the grant could be applied, how it could help you out. But other than that, like it's just about helping families grow.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I think you guys are going to help so many couples. There's going to be so much support that comes from this. And so when you grant somebody the funds, are they meant to be used specifically for something? Does it pay direct to clinic, or does it just go right into the, right to the couple or individual?
Yeah, so right now, like we did say with our first form that it will go like direct to a clinic, and like a clinic could be a fertility clinic, it could be like a naturopath clinic. Like there are different types of clinic. It doesn't have to just be to a fertility clinic. It could be supportive care.
Absolutely.
But I think we thought, like, based on research, that was probably the best way to approach it. But we'll see how things go and if that's the best approach as we continue to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. So are you looking for volunteers? Are you looking for board members? Any opportunities for anybody out there that wants to get involved with Daisy Baby Foundation?
Oh my gosh. We're looking for everything.
Yeah.
Like, right now we're just 2 people, and we were even just talking. 2 people plus our board member. Yeah. But we're just 2 people who founded it. Yeah. And, like, we're always looking for support. So we do want to grow the board. We need social media support. Like, but like, even though I work in marketing, there's only so much time in a day. Like, we really need help. So we could use like website building support. We haven't built a website yet. Like right now, the Daisy Baby Foundation lives on the Honey website, and we do think like it belongs there for now, but like we'll need to have a proper place for people to go. So we're always looking for volunteers and people that are passionate about helping families grow as well.
Okay, tell us where they can find you then.
Yeah, they can find us at the Daisy Baby Foundation on Instagram. That's probably
I tagged you.
Yeah, that's probably the best place to reach us and send us a DM on there. Also, if you go to our links on there, you can see how to donate as well. We have a Zeffy page, I believe, linked on there. So that's a really great way to support financially if you can't donate your time. But yeah, that's the best place to find us for now until we continue to grow.
Yeah. I love that. So tell us some stories, like since you launched, what have you learned from the families who are reaching out to you?
You want me to? Okay. Yeah, we've just learned how much people need community. So Facebook groups have become, as I mentioned, such an important part of our own journey. There are like so many different ways to like develop community, but this has been such an easy way for us to like be able to relate to others and have others relate to us. Like there's so many groups for queer families, for IVF, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, pregnancy after 30, which used to sound scary, but doesn't seem so scary anymore now that we're over 30. So I mean, these communities have reminded us for sure that we're not alone. And I think like something else we've learned from the families reaching out to us is that it's important to protect your mental health. Like there's been such a common thread on most couples and individuals that we've spoken with that mental health can be so easily compromised. Like we were speaking to one family and they actually paused their process for a little bit because like the mental health was so affected. And keeping stress levels down is so important during the journey, but it's so much easier said than done. Like it's almost impossible to like not like have yourself thinking worst case scenario or like being stressed out. And the wait period, like after like you get your egg retrieval and you're waiting like the 5 days, it's like the longest days of your life. And we didn't even have any 5-day embryos. We had 6 and 7. So that was stressful in itself. So I guess like we've learned when to like, step away as well, when to stop researching and remind ourselves that also somebody else's story isn't automatically going to become our story. Like it can be good to have community, but it's also good to like realize that like the worst case scenario might not also be yours. So community should be like supportive, like not like all consuming. So
so true. That's such a good point.
What else do you think? Is there anything else? Oh yeah. And we also learned about a wonderful support group for queer couples called
tell us.
Called Planting the Seed. I don't know if
Okay.
you've heard of it, but we didn't even know about them, but apparently they had recommended our grant to to a queer family. So that was amazing that they heard about us, and we're so early in our journey. But it's an online support group. I believe that they're based in Guelph, but they are online and meet virtually, and they support queer families and families in waiting. And so I think that they're an awesome resource, and there needs to be more resources like that. So I got to spread awareness about the ones that exist.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%. And it's definitely on our radar at Oasis. Like our whole organization is built around supporting the mental health of fertility patients in all areas. And it's one of the areas where we haven't had a chance to really dive in, which is one of the reasons I was so excited about interviewing you both tonight and hearing more about your story, because we really want to be in the LGBTQ plus community. Like we really want to be supporting there. We really want to be having in-person support groups for there. We want to have online support groups. So definitely more conversation offline after this episode. But yeah, that's amazing that exists. So thank you for sharing that resource. I can't wait to see like what we're able to accomplish. The more of these little organizations that pop up and people who are passionate and just really care about seeing families supported at the end of the day. That's what it all boils down to, is just, yeah. And I mean, you touched on the mental health piece, and it actually is the second highest reason for people to drop out of treatment. Like the number one reason is money. Like you can't afford it anymore. The second reason that people drop out of fertility treatment and just, be childless or, take a big break or whatever is mental health.
Yeah. I'm not surprised actually, but it was just very like eye-opening hearing everyone's individual stories about that. And I mean, within like the clinics themselves, like I have a great therapist, and so like she guided me through the process, and that was great. But a lot of people like don't have resources for that as well, like in addition to all the costs that come with fertility care. So that's
even some parts of the process, they can be what is the word, like dysphoria inducing for like trans folks and whatnot. Like there's so many triggers throughout the process as well. So there's like so many ways to be more mindful of the patients and to take them into further consideration and get to that next level of care that you're talking about, where like you feel like a valued patient and like your needs matter.
Yeah. And understood, it's so important. Yeah. And all of that like really impacts mental health.
For sure.
All of those components. There's so many moving parts. There's, the folks who have to drive 5 hours to their clinic for one checkup.
We've met them. Yeah.
They're out there. There's lots of them.
Yeah. At the clinic, they're like, we drove from Northern Ontario to go to this appointment. So
I think we have like a very holistic approach to life. So it's like, you can't have this singular experience and not have it touch other aspects, right? So you have to take care of the whole shebang. It can't, like you got to be good in all aspects. You got to be well taken care of, and in the right space. And physically. Yeah,
I love that. Okay, so Daisy baby. Tell me, like, what's the dream? Like, you guys are what, like 6 months in, maybe, and you're kind of just like flying by the seat of your pants right now, doing your first grant. What is like what's the big, hairy, audacious goal?
So we've just been trying to network with as many people as possible, like, and spread the word through podcasts right now. So, interviews. So thanks for having us on. But I guess like our goal is to keep growing. Like we would love to continue offering annual grants. We'd also love to build beyond that. Like something that we're really passionate with is like offering support. Like I also think like beyond planting the seed, we haven't heard of many other support groups for queer couples. So, or queer families in waiting, queer families. So that's something that we definitely want to offer. What else do we want to do with the Daisy Baby Foundation?
We want to give away a ton of money. So we need donors. We need
the lottery.
Supporting.
Yeah.
We don't want people to, have to choose between to start a family or to do something
pay rent.
Else. To pay rent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, we really feel like everyone should having a family shouldn't be a privilege, and it feels like there's so many additional systemic, financial, emotional barriers for like LGBT families. So we want to break those barriers a little bit.
Yeah, I love that, and I identify so much with everything you're saying. We have the same North Star. I don't just we're just so aligned with that and wanting to just provide as much support as possible. That's amazing. We love to ask this with this. Actually, I'm going to ask one more question. We have a few more minutes, but how do you think fertility clinics, employers, and healthcare providers, all in general, can just be more inclusive? If they're listening, can you give some tips to if you just did this simple thing or that simple thing? I mean, it can be about adding things to a form, or what are some things that they can be doing?
So I think there's a lot that they could be doing.
We open a whole can of worms, a whole other episode.
Inclusion, being inclusive isn't. Clinics are becoming a lot more inclusive, but it's taken a long time and it's a little late, because LGBT families have been here forever. So I would say inclusion.
Well, the OGs actually, right?
Yeah. It didn't just start when policies were created for us to be getting married or, having families being recognized by the government. So I would say inclusion isn't created by one policy, but it's created through lots of tiny micro moments, improving your website with inclusive language, your intake forms. We've heard a lot of horror stories that a lot of intake forms are still who's the man and who's the women?
What's your sperm count?
Yeah,
we both have eggs.
Yeah, so it should be, it should be more inclusive. Your language, your waiting room. We've heard a story recently from a trans couple. One of them is trans, and they were asked to go sit in the waiting room with all these other people that weren't like them, and they felt incredibly uncomfortable throughout the whole process. So I mean, that's one way that clinics can be a little bit more cognizant of trans folks, is thinking about where they're going to wait. The way that clinics and communicate, whether both partners feel included. Lily hasn't really felt super included throughout the process as my partner always. So.
Yeah, I meant to touch on that a little bit, but yes, it's hard being the other partner, and I don't necessarily have a big stake in it other than being the other mom, but
that should be a huge stake.
It's not, and we're not doing reciprocal IVF a lot of
couples are.
Couples are. And I just felt like I was completely left out of all of it. I didn't even need to be there, right. They're not even acknowledging me half the time because Christine's the one going through it and there's nothing for me to do. So just including us both in the process.
Yeah, I think sometimes just the smallest things, remembering that there are two people becoming parents and making both partners feel welcomed. Those little moments matter more than clinics realize.
Yeah. That's so good. That's such great advice. And it's so important, I think, to make that known. And thank you for sharing that, Lily, because I think so many people can relate to that. And 100%. That's great. What would you, if someone was just at the start of their fertility journey, we love this, and this question on the podcast. And you guys are kind of close to the beginning, so you're not going back too far, but But what is something what advice would you give? I mean, we talked a little bit about advice earlier, but what would you tell somebody who's just starting today, or who's thinking about starting, a same-sex couple or, a queer couple?
you want to start or you want me to start?
You go ahead.
Okay, so I would say like it's okay to not know everything. Like if you're type A like me and a big researcher, like you'll want to know everything and you'll kick yourself if like something that you do isn't perfect, and you might obsess over, oh, if I had taken this one supplement another month longer, like was it going to improve my egg quality a bit more? But you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself, like to become an expert overnight. Like you really have to take care of your mental health. Like, after all my random diagnoses, like I thought I had to understand every study, every supplement, every option, like, but you should educate yourself, but not to the point where you're like driving yourself crazy. I think that that's something that's really important to remember. Like find healthcare professionals that you trust, like additional supports that you trust. If you don't end up loving your clinic, find and if you have the means to do it, not everyone does, see that naturopath or like use that nurse practitioner, talk to your family doctor. If not, those are some important things that I can think of off the top of my head. What about you? What would you tell
I would say that's yeah.
She's like what she said.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, you've given such great advice, Lily, already with, just feeling unseen and not heard, like you can speak up, you can advocate, you can say like, my stance on this is, and yeah, I just think it's so important to be there as a couple and like support your partner the whole way through, no matter what. I mean, I can relate in the sense that like, I didn't need my partner there either for my fertility treatment, but I was like, you're coming, like we're dragging you out here. We're doing this together. Like, you have to be stronger than infertility together.
Yeah.
And we used to talk about, it's like us against infertility. Like we are on the same team. And it can so often just feel like you're like, it's, tearing you apart because it is so difficult and you're going through so much financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, like all the things. And it has to be like you against infertility.
But don't be also like afraid to question like the professionals. Like I know like a lot of people, like especially older generations, like I know like our parents don't really always question like the medical system, and like, but I think like the younger generations like are a little bit better with that. But I think like traditionally like generations like our parents and older like have been like, okay, the doctor said this, we're gonna do this. Like yeah. But so like don't be afraid. Like Lily got prescribed some blood tests through like our clinic that didn't seem necessarily relevant because she wasn't like the sperm donor, and she questioned them, like
I was like, why do I have to do this?
Like, are you guys asking us to do this because like
okay?
Yeah. So I mean, like, don't be afraid to ask the questions, even if they make the clinic uncomfortable, because like you deserve to be comfortable as well.
100. Yes, that's so good. That's great advice, and I think you're absolutely right. Do you guys know about our resource, our journal, our fertility journal?
No.
Okay. Oasis, it was one of the first things we did, but for anybody who joins us, one of our support groups, we give them a journal. And it started out as this like little book that we get printed online, and we bind it like in my office. And now it's like a printed actual, like almost like a publication. It's a 91-page book. So I want to make sure that we get a discount code for anybody that joins your community for a free journal. So we give them out, and we'll also get you some journals because it's an epic resource and it has all kinds of great stuff in there to go through the journey. But we'd love to give that to your whole community. Anybody who like follows you on Instagram or whatever, we just give a discount code to our website, and then they can get their $10. It's a $10 purchase, but it zeroes out at cash out. They just pay $5 for shipping anywhere in Canada. So we'll definitely get you a code for that soon. It'll probably just be Daisy Baby Foundation for anybody who's listening or looking for that. That would be amazing, so that we can help spread hope and all that. And then we also want your feedback on how we can make it more inclusive as well, because we really, really are like committed to being, inclusive and opening our hearts and hands and groups to anybody who's going through the fertility journey.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
We can't wait to try it ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hang out after and we'll chat. But I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming on. It's just been such a pleasure chatting with you and getting to know you ladies both a little bit better. And I look forward to chatting more and seeing what you guys do. Make sure if you're out there, you're listening, whether it's tonight, whether it's in 5 months from tonight, go follow Daisy Baby Foundation. Go follow Honey Events as well, because I had a quick check at what you guys do for event planning, and I'm like, I'm about to come to the Pride event you guys put on too.
Oh, that's awesome!
Let's do it. 100%.
Yeah,
awesome.
I will say before we leave, like we will have that event again next year, and 100% of all like ticket sales go to the Daisy Baby Foundation. So every vendor is a volunteer, including ourselves. Like we just run it out of like our passion, and it's like a heart-led event. So if people come next year, you will be directly helping build a family.
Love it. Yes. Amazing. Well, we'll be promoting it too and saying, everybody, look at this awesome event.
Thank you.
Time. So keep us in the loop for sure. Thanks everybody who's out there who joined in tonight. Thanks Instagram. I see lots of people were coming and going throughout the evening. This episode's going to live on our Spotify, on our website at oasisfsn.com. It's going to live on Spotify, the Oasis Fertility Podcast. So check it out. Send it to a friend who might need to hear something or who wants to learn more about Daisy Baby Foundation. Thanks again, and we'll see you. We'll stay in touch. Thanks,
Thank you.